Hello and welcome to Lynchburg Live. I'm your host, Linda Smith. In 2012, Central Virginia Community College in Lynchburg added a special program called the Young Entrepreneurs Academy. Tonight's show is the first in a two-part series featuring the YEA Program. My guests tonight are Anthony Andrews and Tony Camm. Both of these people are instructors for the YEA Program. So glad to have you.
Glad to be here, Linda.
Good to be here.
You know, as we get started, could one of you or both of you just tell the audience what the YEA Program is?
I would defer to him.
YEA is our Young Entrepreneurs Academy. It started out of Rochester, New York in 2004. And it's a successful program that's in 14 other states. And basically, we teach young kids between the grades of 6th through 12th grade how to start their own business, small little enterprise.
You know, and now is a good time to ask you, in doing research for this program, I found out that this is the first program of its kind in the state of Virginia.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
You know, I think that is so great for this city to have that here.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Great distinction.
Absolutely.
Now, you both are instructors in this program.
I'm actually the program manager.
He's the program manager.
for
Yeah.
the program, and he's actually
Yeah.
the instructor.
I'm an instructor. I got told that I was going to do that.
I was going to say, how were you chosen to do this program? But apparently you weren't chosen, you were told.
I was voluntold.
You were
I was voluntold about it. This is my son, for those that don't know.
That's right.
And one day I got a call, said, "Hey, Pop, you're going to be teaching a class at CVCC." Okay, see you, son. Called me right back. Did you think I was joking? Yeah. So that I was voluntold that I was going to do it. So it sounded like very interesting. So I said, hey, if you think I can do it, I'm in. You know, anything that he wants to do, I wanted to be successful at it. So if I can play a part in it, you know, and so yeah, I jumped right into it, and it's been a great experience.
You're certainly one of Lynchburg's greatest entrepreneurs, I think. I mean,
stop.
you've got your finger in every pie. I mean, and you've been so successful at everything, and who better to influence
That's
these
right.
students?
Absolutely.
I think that
Absolutely.
and your kids have turned out pretty good.
They have. Yes, they have.
Yeah. And we, Linda, we initially chose him, the Chamber of Commerce and myself initially chose him not only because he's my father, but because he had a lot of energy, a lot of experience to bring to the table, a lot of knowledge about entrepreneurship, and I knew that he would be perfect to kickstart the actual program.
Oh, I think he's perfect.
Absolutely.
I agree with you. Now, is it true that at the end of the program, the students who are participating are expected to be capable of running a fully functional business?
Absolutely, absolutely. We're going through that process right now. In fact, they will begin presenting to an investor panel next Wednesday. And once they present to those investors, they will get real money to start their business, and they are expected to continue the success of that business for the next year or so.
So this is kind of like the Shark Tank.
Absolutely.
Television
Absolutely.
program.
It's a lot like that. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And doing the mock investor panels, and you know, and we get to play some of the sharks sometime. You know, I like playing the Mark Cuban role. You know. But you know, you get down to the thing, and the kid presents, and then you know, you start drilling them on the things. Well, since you didn't do this, and you didn't do your research on this, I'm out. You know, and it just kind of, it makes it for a very fun atmosphere.
Right.
But it's very much learning experience at the same time.
Plus, it gives these students, I'm thinking, an opportunity to be in a position where they're accepted for what they do, and also are not accepted unless they do more.
Right,
You know,
right.
so I think that's a good experience for all of us.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Now, when was this program started at CVCC?
In December, actually. It's normally a 9-month program, but we just bunked it down to 6 months because we started recruitment a little later than we anticipated, only because it was a new program. We wanted to make sure that we got enough publicity out there and get it out there to the public. But it started in December, and CVCC has been phenomenal. And as far as helping us out with meals, as far as helping us out with facility, the whole 9 yards.
Good bag lunches they make.
Absolutely.
We know what's important, don't we?
That's right.
And then one of your students is also a cupcake maker.
Oh,
so,
That's
so
right.
you've got good,
That's right.
good bag lunches
Yeah.
and a cupcake
Which
maker.
is
That's
also a problem too, Linda, because I'm trying to lose weight. So you go to class every time, there's cupcakes waiting
I
for
know
you.
there's,
Tell you
there's
what.
cupcakes, there's beef jerky, there's ice cream.
There's all
there's
types
like
of stuff.
people making stuff all over the place.
Yeah.
I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Until the Girl Scout cookies are off the grid. I don't even start thinking about doing anything like losing weight. All right. Now, in this next year, is this going to be continued next year, this
Yes, ma'am.
program?
Yes,
And-
ma'am. There's actually a 3-year pilot program, and it will continue this fall. In fact, May is the time when we're going to start student recruitment again, and that will go until May of next year, 2014, and then we'll do one more year. And then at that time, the Chamber of Commerce will decide whether they want to continue that program, and I think they will. I really do.
Now, I read that the Lynchburg leadership, Lynchburg, CVCC, the Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Lynchburg, that all of these people came together.
One big conglomerate, absolutely. Leadership Lynchburg is through the Chamber of Commerce. They actually started the program or reached out to YEA National to bring the program here. Christine Kennedy and Nicole Kidman, some of those groups of people decided to write a grant for it and brought that program here because, of course, anything costs money to fund. So, and we've been successful ever since then. So.
And I want to say again, this is the first program of its kind in the state of Virginia, and I think that's great. Now, I read that in some states that these programs are even in high school.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
As well as colleges.
Yes.
And how was Lynchburg chosen? How was CVCC chosen for this?
CVCC was chosen, actually, Dr. Capps from CVCC, the president, actually stepped in and contacted the chamber and wanted to see how CVCC can be involved. So they have provided us with a facility, classroom, training space, and a computer lab. So that's how that partnership became what it is. And originally we went through the Boys and Girls Club because we didn't have a superintendent to go through the city schools. But then Dr. Braband came in and endorsed the program, and we were able to open it up to the rest of Lynchburg City Schools. So we had a partnership with the city schools, Boys and Girls Club, CVCC, and then of course Leadership Lynchburg.
How is it funded? Is it funded differently than any other course that's at the college?
Grant money. A lot of grant money, a lot of community support from different advocacies. Greater Lynchburg Community Trust is one of those people or organizations that have donated to the program. Next year we'll be doing something different where companies can actually sponsor a kid to go through the program. It may cost them between $500 and $800 to sponsor, and that would take care of materials and field trips and all that good stuff. But this year, funding-wise, we were able to raise enough money through private donations and company contributions to pay for the first year completely,
Oh, that's
and
wonderful.
then half of the second year. So
That
we
is
were
really wonderful.
very, very fortunate. Absolutely.
Now, what age groups are participating students?
Wow. Well, we have as young as
Yeah.
11
Yes.
and
Absolutely.
up to I think like 17
Yeah.
or 18.
Yeah.
Somewhere. So it's a wide range. It's 22 kids, I think.
22
to
kids
start
in
with,
this?
22 to 24.
It started out with 24 kids, and now we're down to we're actually down to 15 students.
How often does a class meet, and when?
Yeah, every Tuesday
Okay.
at CVCC. Of course, we take off like holidays, and we don't have class when there's like during spring break kind of thing.
Right.
But it's
Right.
a 27-week program.
Right.
Is it a daytime class, an evening class?
Yes.
I guess it would have to be with kids in school.
That's
that-
right. That's right.
But the kids are really treated like adults, and it's not fun all the time for them. That's why some are not in the program
Right.
any longer, because really, it's really, we wanted to make it as real as possible, like the real world business.
Right.
You've got to be prepared. You've got to be able to speak up. You've got to be able to get your points across on your product, so forth and so on. And some kids will find that it's just too strenuous a task, but the good thing is you really find out like who really wants to be an entrepreneur, because it's not easy. Everyone can say,
No.
hey, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to be a businessman, I want to own my own business, and there's a lot to go through. These kids sit through classes that, half of the class is a lawyer talking to them. you know, and they got to keep it exciting
Yeah.
for kids. You know,
Yeah.
for an 11-year-old to listen to an accountant talk about why it's important to have an accountant. You know, so it's they really have to be focused and really have a drive to be entrepreneurs. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Was this program advertised publicly, or how are these kids chosen to be a part of the program?
Great question. Yes, it was advertised publicly through Lynchburg City Schools, of course, like I said before. WSET has been, Randy Smith, who's the head man over there, he's been phenomenal in the partnerships and helping us out and advertising that on the news and getting that out there. Facebook has been a big help, of course, Twitter, and then all those avenues, and then Leadership Lynchburg participants have been broadcasting that to different avenues. The kids actually go through a selection process. So they have to apply for the program, go through an interview process, and get selected. And initially, we started out with 56 kids, and we had to boil it down to just 24 students.
That's a lot of good interest.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And we're hoping that will double this upcoming year.
You know, and once again, just going through the interview process to get into this program
Yes, ma'am.
is a good teaching tool for these kids, because they're going to have to go through
Yeah,
interview
absolutely.
processes as
Absolutely.
they get into jobs and the job market and that kind of
Absolutely.
thing.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's great preparation.
Now, are these kids that are chosen, do they already have ideas about what they want to do with the business of their own when they come to you all?
I think most did,
Yeah.
and some changed as they went through
Did they?
the, you know. Or,
Absolutely.
And one of the things that we stressed at the beginning of the program is, you know, we can only have 12 businesses.
Right.
So
Right.
out of 24 kids, you know, everyone is not gonna. So
Right.
what you saw almost immediately was certain people deciding to partner up, and people that have similar ideas. Like if this person wants to make T-shirts and this person wants to make T-shirts, hey, let's put them together and have one company, you know, that kind of thing. So, yeah, so a lot of them did have strictly in their mind what they wanted to do, and some were doing it already.
That's so cool.
And
Right,
the program
right.
is just basically steered them into the X's and O's and ones and twos of business, but they were doing stuff
Right.
or marketing themselves and making product before the program. So those ones are way out in front. You know.
That's cool. You brought some pictures. Phil, if you'll put the pictures up, we'll let Tony and Anthony tell us what they are. We can start with the one behind us if you want to tell us what that is.
That's basically a grid of, you can't see down below, but yeah, there you are. Some of the students in the class and just some of the products that they have, from cupcakes to beef jerky to Zoozies, which is a zoo koozie. And then Anthony here is also in the program. He's actually starting his own men's haberdashery bow tie making business.
Saw that on
Absolutely,
Facebook.
So there's a
absolutely,
picture of him
absolutely.
showing tying one of his bow ties on one of our guys, Matt, and there's another picture there.
Cool ties.
I think that's just at home in the morning when he gets up.
Yeah, I just felt like I needed a cup of coffee and look out my window with a
Look
bow
out the
tie.
window.
It was, you know, it was just regular old tuxedo Tuesday.
Yeah, you know.
My husband is a big Doctor Who fan, and he's been saying he wanted a bow tie, so now we know where to
The
send
bow
it.
ties are like
Send 'em
in
to me.
vogue all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I can't tie it. It's kind of now it's the reverse. Like I taught him to tie a tie
That's right.
when he was young. Now he's teaching me.
You have to-
you know,
Yeah, absolutely.
how to do
absolutely.
bow ties and special knots. That was a field trip we took on, because one of the things we do within the program is we do take several field trips to real businesses so the kids can see it, touch it, feel it, see how it's run. And that was at the Scene 3 bike skateboard shop downtown.
What a wonderful opportunity for these kids.
Yeah, and that's one of Anthony's favorite
Sweet
places right
Frog.
there, is Sweet Frog.
Yeah.
So we got to go there, and she talked about you know, how to pick a market, like pick a product that, you know, people are going to have some demand for, and all those. It's big thanks to all of the entrepreneurs who have businesses that allowed us to come into their places and bring a busload of kids in.
What
You know,
are some of those businesses? I'm just curious.
Scene 3, Sweet Frog.
Went
just
to
went
the
to a
Parlor Spa.
Parlor
We just
Spa.
now went to that field trip. Now we've done 3 field trips. So we
Yeah,
have a
and
couple
there's some
more to
more
go.
coming up, yeah.
We have a couple more to go.
I
So
think it's wonderful.
absolutely.
Yeah, it is.
I would love to have had something like that when I was a kid.
You and me both.
And there's one of our little guys, Darren, who was making
He's making cookies.
Yeah, I
and
think he's getting cookies and jewelry now. So I don't know whether you're going to take cookies and put earrings on them. I don't know what his plan is on that one.
At least it's original.
Got to be original. Got to make it pop. All right, and there's the 11-year-old Tyra. She's actually, I became her mentor during the course of the program because each student gets a mentor.
That's right.
Each business, I should say, gets a mentor. And so I took her on as a project because she was the youngest and she has a great idea for making ice cream that revolves around the planets. So we're in business together. We purchased the ice cream maker, and so she's my official business partner.
That's so cool.
So I'm expecting to make a lot of money on that ice cream. And there's George with his Zoozies, which was a great idea. And it's so funny. I was at a function one night, and this lady had one of those on her drink. And I kept looking and looking. Finally, I went over to her. I'm like, excuse me, where'd you get that? She was like, why? I said, because I've never seen them before except one person that I know. And it turned out to be that was his mom at a function. So, she's like, my son George makes them. I'm like, oh, yeah. I said, I know your son George. So, but
you may have some young inventors as well as business kids.
Yeah, yeah.
We had a couple students actually in the beginning of the program wanting to make a wind turbine.
I know it, man. They were going to power a city. And we said, hey, you got to scale it down a little bit for this program.
Yeah. So.
Starting out really aggressive.
Yeah, but the whole thing is they had it all worked out, and of course we're the instructors, and we had no clue if they could do it or not.
Yeah.
It was over our head, They had it all figured out how they could do it.
You're really brave taking these kids on.
Oh, I'm telling you, you don't know. You don't know that.
All right. Now, who prepares what you do in the classroom? Do you prepare your own?
There's lots of materials
Yes.
that come through the program, with the program itself. They've done a great job of sending out preparation materials. I remember when I first said yes, and I showed up at a conference call with him, and there are these books, and then I'm like, it's like I'm going back to school. Oh no! And I'm one of those people who's notorious for not liking to follow the book. I want to get the idea, and so he said, look, get the basic ideas of everything. Make sure you hit on everything, but put your own personality and self into it. So a lot of it, the preparation, just comes from the printed materials that they send to us, and we just follow along week to week.
That just is so great, really it is. And one of the things that I think is this program is not just benefiting these kids who are students. This has a wide range benefit. It benefits the city in the long run.
Absolutely.
And can you tell me how that happens? I mean, what kind of benefits the city gets from this?
In fact, the city has been really great in being a partner with us. Margette Upshur, of course, from Economic Development, has been one of the advocates for this program. She's going to be our MC for next week's investor panel. So we understand the economic benefit of these kids creating stuff and maybe even creating some jobs if it grows, and keeping those businesses here locally, and hopefully inspiring other students to start their own businesses and keeping those funds in our local area. So
what would you say are the actual goals of the majority of these students? I mean, I'm sure they're serious about what they're doing.
Absolutely.
So their goals are just
billionaires.
Yes.
Billionaires.
Yes. Yes.
In fact, the first day of class, I went around and I said, everyone stand up, say your name, and that I'm a young billionaire. And I wanted to kind of get that ingrained in their brain to prepare them for saying that for the rest of their lives, that I'm a billionaire.
Right.
So, just say it, speak it, believe it, So I think that, if all goes perfectly, we're making, a bunch of little billionaires right now. It's like a little factory.
And the encouragement means so much to these kids. I remember when my husband's son was like 9 or 10, he told us, when we said, what do you want to do when you grow up? He said, I want to be the second richest man in the world.
Okay.
And I told my husband, I said, and I'm going to encourage him because this is a kid who's going to decide what nursing home we're going to. So, you know, on a personal basis, how has being involved in this program and actually interacting with these kids, how has it impacted you all?
Oh, it has impacted me tremendously. Has opened doors up for me, of course. I've got a chance to meet some wonderful people, some wonderful parents, and some wonderful kids that have given me ideas as far as starting a business, and get the chance to see them take those ideas and make them to something completely bigger than I ever imagined before. So it has also humbled me and given me the idea to teach my own children about entrepreneurship and how to work for yourself and not so much rely on, working for a company or working for those benefits at the end of the day.
But you rely on your own.
Rely on your own merit and rely on your own ingenuity to go out there and do something and think about how it's going to benefit other people. And it's one thing to make a business and benefit just yourself, but if you can make a business and encompass that and benefit other people around you, that's ultimately, that's my goal. So.
And Tony, how about you?
Yeah, well, for me, I mean, it's been life-altering for me, to be honest with you, because I didn't know up until this point that I could teach. I really didn't. And
you should have known.
I come from a family of educators, and teaching was never on my grid, And so my first day in class, I looked out over all those young kids. I'm like, I was scared to death. I'm like, can I back? Is it too late for me to back out? I don't want to open my mouth and then they're going to laugh, or either they're going to be disinterested and I'm going to feel like I'm wasting my time and I'm a failure. And from the first few moments, it was like, how you feel like that was the place you should be, kind of thing.
Right.
And so, thank you for that
Absolutely,
opportunity.
Pop.
But that has
Thank you for bringing
actually
me into the world, Pop. So just my return.
Oh man, Bubba Walker's
I
supposed to make me cry, man. Not you.
Cry, man. I told you, Linda, you make us cry on the show, man.
Yeah, but it's
This show may be falling apart all of a sudden.
it's been a life-altering experience, and I really am grateful for it, and I plan to be involved as long as they want me to.
I think it's so important that this program and the two of you as instructors are such positive role models for these kids. And how many kids really have the opportunity to do this?
That's right.
That's right. I would love to see more of this, helping these kids who have no direction.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And now all of a sudden they do. Now, if somebody were interested, somebody who's watching the show, turns out interested in becoming a part of this, helping out, doing something, how would they go about doing it?
Contact Christine Kennedy, lynchburgchamber.org. Or you can call the Chamber of Commerce, Lynchburg Regional Chamber of Commerce. And then that way they can express their interest, whether it's a person that wants to sponsor a student or a company that wants to sponsor, or any students out there that may want to be interested or want to join the program. So.
Well, I think it's wonderful what you do. If you could tell anybody or tell our audience one anecdote, something that you have had happen during this class that you wanted to share with somebody, what would it be? Or do you have anything like that in your head?
That's what you
Go ahead, Pop. You want to?
I don't know. You go ahead, man.
I'm going to tell you like this, Linda.
Okay. Remember, you're on the air.
Absolutely. I always wanted to do something with my hands. I've never been a woodworker or anything like that. All right. And a year ago, I didn't know how to sew a button on a shirt or anything like that. My mom taught me to sew, and now I'm making bow ties. And it's just been amazing because I didn't listen to people that said, you can't do it.
Right.
So I went and did it. I read the books. I researched on the internet. I talked to people and found out what they like, what they don't like. And I keep moving. And I'm up at 2:30 in the morning sewing. but I'm having fun doing it. That's the trick. You gotta have fun no matter what you're doing. You gotta have fun.
And I think like up at 2:30, when you have an idea, you're not going to go back to sleep anyway.
No,
you may as well
absolutely
get
not.
up and make a bow tie.
When he first called me and said he was sewing, I said, so what?
Yeah.
And he said, so tie. Well, I think it's wonderful what you both are doing, and you're both coming back when this program starts for the second term, or
Sure,
I guess is
yeah,
what you call it.
Absolutely.
I think that's great, and I really appreciate you being on the show, both
Thank
of you.
you.
And Anthony, you're coming back next week, and
Yes,
I'll be
ma'am.
glad to
With
see
one of
you.
our young billionaires.
With one of your young-
Going with him.
Absolutely.
Almost going to be
Absolutely.
billionaires.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks, Linda.
All
I
right.
appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope you've enjoyed tonight's program, and we'll tune in next week to watch part 2 featuring the YEA program. Is it okay to say YEA program, or should I say YEA program?
Yeah.
Yay.
I said,
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful evening. Good night.